We are live. Aloha kakahiaka. Everyone, I'm Peter K. Today it's March 28th, and you are on the Aloha Friday Hawaii Real Estate Show. I'm super happy. I hope you're super happy too. I'm glad to be here. We have a great show for you today. As usual, this is the lineup we've got. We're going to start out with some Hawaii news, like some quick overview, some headlines that I think you're going to find very interesting. We got some market updates. We got some reports from each of the major islands, except for Kauai, Big Island, Maui, Oahu. And we got your questions. Got some really good questions for today. A really, really good one that you're going to want to listen to. Some diamonds and deals. We're going to go over some properties that people find that our team feels are worth your attention. And then we're going to close with some motivational thoughts as we go into the weekend. But the first thing that we have to do, we have to warm up. We have to warm up the internets. So we're going to warm up the internets with our friends here who are with us. We got Dylan Nonaka, who is from the Big Island. We've got Heidi Dollinger, who's from Maui, and we have Ashley Wasan, who's from Oahu. All my friends are here. So let's warm this up, this bad boy up. So let's go clockwise with Dylan. Dylan has a traditional, usually has some kind of an Aloha shirt that he wears, usually some kind of a shirt. Dylan, what's the shirt? How's the Big Island?
This is a Manaola, one of my newer ones that I don't know if my wife picked up from some craft fair or show that she went to recently. So I like it. My son likes it so much he's been stealing it from my closet and wearing it, which is a cool era that we're in. That they steal my clothes. So um, no complaints
Man,
about.
your son stealing the clothes. That's like a double coolness.
They're I'm almost too small for them. So there's gonna come a time
Big
here
boys.
where
All
my
right.
son are bigger than me. So that's a good thing. They eat well.
How's Big Island weather? How's the Big Island weather doing?
The weather's great. There's been a lot of fog. You guys have probably been seeing on the news. The volcano is absolutely just going off right now. I mean, just hundreds of feet fountains in the crater. And I think we've talked about recently in the past, like that's a very rare occurrence when that much activity. Sometimes it just bubbles up and you can see it glowing in the Halemaumau crater, but normally for the past 30 years, 40 years, it's been happening in a spot that the event that is not accessible easily. And yeah, to have that, just you can just basically drive right up, park your car, and walk 2 minutes to the edge of the crater and see it. It's just unreal.
I really, that is, I have not seen. I mean, I've been to the crater, I've seen the lava, all that stuff, but not like a fountain.
Yeah,
That
it's
is,
going
yeah,
off.
yeah. I bet I got to believe that you can't even come near that now, crowd wise. It's got to be like insane. I would think. I would think.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think in the early evenings, the best time to go is like early mornings, right? Like before sunrise. But yeah, if you go in the early
Oh,
evenings after sunset, it's pretty crowded.
oh, go early mornings before sunrise because no one's that crazy. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Cool. All right. Excellent. Excellent. Heidi, give us the update on Maui. What is the Heidi always has coffee. Heidi's specialty is coffee. So Heidi, what's the coffee you are sipping this morning, and how is your morning in Maui doing? Oh, you're muted.
The morning on Maui is just gorgeous. I mean, this entire spring, we've just had such great weather. We have had a little bit of fog. I mean, I can look outside, and if I can't see the island of Molokai, I know that the fog is in the air. We did have a few clear days, but every once in a while the fog comes in. But it does make the sunsets really, really spectacular. Coffee of the day. I love Maui coffee, but I'm actually drinking a Kona coffee today. And it's very good. I went on my walk this morning. I mean, it's about having quality coffee, but then also going on a great walk and being outside in the morning. That's how I love to start my day. So, anyway, happy Friday. Good to see everybody.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Happy Friday. Good to see everybody. It's like,
I
go
heard a
ahead, Dylan.
great I heard a great perspective on Kona coffee yesterday. One of my business partners is here, and we went out to a local coffee shop and had Kona coffee, and he said, it's not necessarily his favorite tasting coffee. There's other coffees that taste good or are as good as Kona coffee, but he said the buzz from Kona coffee is the best. It's not doesn't make you crazy, but it gives you that like good high level, buzz that you want to get from coffee, but doesn't make you jittery and stuff. And I never thought about that, but it's true. I mean, I think after having that cup, I did notice that. So
Yeah,
Ah.
there are definitely some coffees that give you a different kind of buzz for sure.
Yeah.
I never thought about
nice.
that, but also, isn't it crazy how we normalize coffee? Like, so, so we don't do that with any other drug. I mean, product.
Drug, yeah, drug, exactly. Yeah, that's exactly right. It's like, yeah, coffee. Yeah, let's have a coffee. Let's go out for a coffee. Let's have coffee in the morning. Yeah, et cetera, et cetera.
It's crazy. Oh yeah, I let my 8-year-old have some coffee this morning. Like,
Ooh, that's a bad. That's
like that. That would just be such a different story. But we're heading in that direction. I feel like people are starting to 10 years, 20 years from now, mushrooms will be the new coffee.
oh boy. Oh man, there you go. Yeah. Well, hey.
I don't do them. Just side note, I am so square. I don't do anything.
Well, I mean, it's certainly. I mean, it's not outside the realm. It's not outside the realm of possibility. Well, look, there's a legit case to be made. So since we're going to riff on this, there's a legit case to be made that psychedelics have a certain, psychedelics, if applied properly, have certain healing qualities, and there have been, they have been used for to address issues of mental illness and things of that nature. So it's not at all inconceivable, not at all inconceivable.
I was talking like lion's mane, Peter, but
see, I just go straight to the
psychedelic.
hardcore stuff, man.
Well, there is mushroom coffee and there's mushroom coffee creamer.
Right. So that's what I mean. Like the new thing will be mushroom. But yeah, psychedelics I'm sure are cool too.
Yeah, no, those mushrooms are yesterday. We're talking like mushrooms, man.
Right.
It's like okay. Last thing on the coffee thing. One thing that I do every so often for a treat is I put in a big wallop of unsalted butter in coffee, and use a immersion blender to fully blend it in, and it's basically like a really fancy cream, right? It's just because it's a super rich cream in the coffee, but it was good. It's good. It's a good treat. So Ashley, everybody, Ashley is the trooper of the morning. She is here. She's not feeling good. You may hear her coughing up some stuff, but Ashley, we're super glad that you're here. Give us the update. How's Oahu doing? How's your side of the island?
It is good. I just didn't want to miss you guys another show. So
you're so sweet.
The weather is superb. I don't feel like I'm really sensing any fog, like allergy wise, but that just could be because I'm all messed up. We just ended spring break on Oahu. I don't know if all the other islands have the same spring break schedule, but we, like most of the island, went to the mountains in the snow, and we went snowboarding and hit the slopes, and I came back with this chest cold, but it was so fun. Just any other adults, put in the chat if you are learning how to snowboard as an adult. It is just wildly humbling. Happy to be back in moist air. I think we looked it up, and the moisture is like 38% or something like that in Hawaii versus I don't know any of the statistics. All I know is I could not wait to feel moisture again in my skin and in my lungs. And the smell when we arrived, it's so magical here.
It is, right? That at that moment you step off the plane, and it's kind of funny. That's a funny point that you make about the moisture, because I think I'd like to talk to a meteorologist or whatever, because there's a difference between like moisture and humidity. I think because Hawaii's humidity is not high. It's not like there's not a humid place.
It's not like a Florida humid, sticky, like everything is just sticky wet. Right. It's just moisture. I just did a quick Google, and I mean, humidity can sit. I'm not going to look that up. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, but I mean, the humidity is it varies. I mean, the belt out a sneeze there. My turn, but yeah. Anyway, look, getting off the plane, that first moment at the airport, right? That first moment where, man, you feel that nice, warm, moist, as you're saying, that warm, moist air, and the smell of the plumerias is like, man, this is can't be beat. So yeah, thanks, Ashley. Hey, everybody, if you're just joining us, make sure you let us know. I'd like to hear from you. Let us know where you're from. Say hello. Reach out so I can acknowledge you. We're glad that you're here with us. All right, gang. Let's move on. I got a couple of things. I'm going to do some news updates here, really quick, stuff that I think is interesting that people are going to want to hear about. So first one is illegal. We have two kinds of fireworks: illegal and natural fireworks. The natural fireworks was what Dylan talked about. We have this incredible thing going on right now. I want to call it Pele's fireworks. I'm going to coin that phrase, Pele's fireworks, going on the Big Island right now. But we also have an update on the illegal fireworks. They did, sadly, they arrested a co-owner of a Waianae company. Arrested for the import of illegal fireworks. 24 tons of fireworks, the largest interdiction in state's fireworks history. So I thought that was kind of interesting. And the original fireworks survivors, the folks who suffered through that incredible tragedy in Hawaii, were discharged from the Arizona hospital. 5 survivors who were transported to Arizona have been discharged from acute care. So we wish them well, as our prayers are with them. Yeah, that's that. So sewer hike looks like the city and county is going to be doing a sewer hike. I mean, they've been talking about they've been talking about the sewer fee hike, and it looks like it's coming. And apparently it's going to be a big one, a big increase. And brace yourselves, everybody. Interesting. I want to get Dylan's take on this one. So representation in DC needed. So there's a story that the governor is asking legislators for $1.3 million to fund 5 new positions over the next 2 years and he's saying it's to open a new federal affairs office with staff in Hawaii and Washington, D.C., citing dramatic shifts in federal policy that have already unfolded under Donald Trump. So this is interesting to me. And here's what's fascinating. It's like, okay, so we're going to spend money to open up an office in D.C. to make sure that Hawaii is represented. And then I thought to myself, wait a minute, isn't that what the entire point of having 2 senators and 2 congressional, two Congress people? Isn't that their job to represent us in Hawaii? Why are we setting up another office for it? Just a question. I'm just kind of a dumb guy that's, dumb armchair guy that's kind of, throwing it up. Speed bumps. Dylan, wait. Okay, so we got a breaker, station break. Dylan, what's your take on that? Why are we doing that? Don't we have representation?
Yeah, I bet the budget for our 4 Congress people is is $10 million for all the staff that they have. So there's plenty of money being spent for representation there.
So there's something's
the problem. Right. The problem is that when you're extremely partisan and constantly say crazy stuff and make enemies, then people don't help you, and that's kind of the way politics works. You got to pick a side, and our representatives are good at doing that, of just digging themselves in onto one side, and probably are isolated and don't have any type of influence now. And it's something that and it's at the end of the day, it's the voters thing. It's the voters issue to address. I mean, we always only elect one side of the aisle, and that isolates you when the other side gets into power, and that's something that you just got to think about. And that's the way the world works, and America has always worked. And so something to consider, when you go to the ballot box next time, is do you want some more balanced representation? So
you think we would get like one of each, right? Get either side, this way you can't lose, and you always got to compromise. But oh well. So hey, we're gonna say hi to Jesse Naomi Grace. Aloha from Hawaii Island. Welcome, Jesse Naomi Grace. We are glad to have you here. All right, back to the news here really quick. So we got the other thing that's interesting is that there was a point here. I saw this interesting. There's a lot of speed bumps going on around Oahu, and I don't know where it is where you're at, but speed bumps are becoming a thing because we want to slow cars down because of pedestrians, where during pedestrian crosswalks, slow everybody down. Kind of, it's something that a lot of people are in favor of. I'm not, but one thing we don't think about is that those speed bumps are slowing down emergency vehicles, fire trucks, ambulances, and apparently it is taking its toll. So something that always unintended consequences. Careful what you wish for. And then finally, there's a story: Canadians are fighting back. Talk about politics. Canadians are citing Trump in canceling trips to Hawaii. A small sample of once loyal Hawaii visitors from Canada have written to Governor Josh Green and said, we're not going to Hawaii because of Trump. And I thought that's kind of those are always fun. I love the because of Trump issues, and we're not going to talk about politics, but I thought that was kind of fun. So interesting. Hey, why don't we do this? Let's get into enough of the news, or you can comment on the news if you want, but let's get into a market update. Let's go counterclockwise. Actually, if you're willing and ready, give us what's your take on what's happening on Oahu's market.
Can we go counter or clockwise?
Sure. Not a
Thanks.
problem. Let's go with Heidi. Heidi, you go. Yeah, Ashley, you know what? I'll tell you what. Would just like raise your hand or
Phone a
whatever, just
friend.
jump in if you want
Pass.
to
Phone
talk.
a
Yeah,
friend.
we're gonna pass. We're gonna pass. Yeah, see, there you go.
Ashley.
Oh, Ashley, what a trooper! What a
No,
trooper,
I got
Ashley.
it. I was just looking. I've got it. Just give me a minute.
Don't worry about it. No. Now you're not. I'm not going to let you talk anymore, Ashley. No. Anyway, Heidi, what's how's mommy's market doing?
Well, it's an exciting time on Maui, especially for buyers. I mean, we've seen the stats shifting this year to more of a buyer's market, a strong buyer's market for condos. We're also seeing more inventory for single family homes. So that is good if you're a buyer. I mean, it means there's more choice, there's potentially more negotiating power. Sellers have to get more realistic. So, yeah, I've been calling my buyers. I think it's a great time. Number of sales happening on Maui, we've kind of been, lower than in previous years. I pulled up the stats yesterday for March. I mean, as of March 27th, 2025, 53 condos had sold 37 homes and 8 parcels of land. So there's still, more closings today, more Monday. But yeah, we're kind of hovering around a lower number of sales happening. But again, that goes back to, being a good time if you're a buyer.
It's an opportunity. It's certainly going to be a good opportunity, and I think well, we'll see who wants to. So what do you say to someone who brings up the issues like, okay, the reason why there's an opportunity here, it seems, is because there's a little bit of instability or lack of clarity on what's going to happen with the vacation rental market. Okay, and let's just say I'm very conservative and I don't want to risk buying a condo in an area that that might lose its vacation rental status. But there are other areas that are, are vacation rentals and are not at risk of losing their vacation rental status. How are they? How are those? Let's call these safe vacation rental properties. Are those also still part of this market trend? Are there still some things, or are those like higher priced because they're stable, and the low prices are really for the ones that are like that people aren't sure about? How's that playing out? I'm curious.
Well, there's many different segments of the market and many different price points. And I mean, I think the advice would really depend on the individual buyer and what their needs are, what their tolerance for risk is. I mean, as you mentioned, Peter, there are some properties that are currently vacation rentals where it's being discussed, are they going to continue to be vacation rentals? I mean, I would never try to persuade a buyer to buy something like that if they were uncomfortable with it or it wasn't in alignment with their goals. But some of the uncertainty and the issues, I mean, they've been kind of affecting the entire market where there's just kind of a lot of people just waiting to see what happens. And I guess the point I'm trying to make is it's not like if you're a buyer, you don't necessarily want to wait till everybody else is also a buyer and it's 100% safe, because then you're going to have all this competition. Now there's more inventory, more choice, potentially more negotiating power. So, I mean, it really comes down to the individual buyer and, what their needs and time horizon is. And to answer your other question about the hotel zone properties, which are short-term rental and would not change, or not, we're not expecting any change there. Surprisingly, that market's been weaker as well. And it might just be the messaging too that people just think like every vacation rental property is going to be affected, and that's not necessarily the case. So um, connect with a good agent, take the time up front to do like a really thorough buyer consultation, and think about what your individual goals are before you just jump in. But It also takes somebody skilled in this market to know, where the good opportunities are as well. So, excited to be working with some buyers right now, helping them out.
That's awesome. Thanks. So what I'm catching is that, this sort of trend overall is affecting really all of the market. And so if you're willing to kind of do your work, you can find there's definitely some good deals to be had out there. Not just sort of, not to say distressed properties, but properties that have a unclear, that lack some clarity. So thanks, Heidi. I appreciate it. Dylan, give us the update. What's going on in the Big Island? How's that market coming along?
So the headline is, the last couple of months we're seeing really low levels of sales, and it's looking like we're not done with the month of March yet, but it's looking like we're gonna have the highest number of sales since July of last year. So it's gonna be a high point. We're at 385 sales right now. We'll probably end the month with somewhere around 400. There's still a couple of days left to have some closings. And the last time we had over 400 sales was in July of last year. We've been under 400 sales ever since. And so um, it's about the same number of sales that happened in March of 2024. There was a 389 sales, so it's probably going to surpass that. But for a year that's been a little bit slow and volatile, it's a bright spot. Things are picking up. But as I've been saying for months and months and months and months, I mean, the month over month, the year over year median price across everything is up. So even though number of sales is slow, it's still no end in sight, in terms of price just continuing to creep up, not by crazy amounts, but the kind of normal 3 to 5% that you see in a normal real estate market. So things are good. Things are stable. Things are steady. And looks like could be picking up a little bit.
It's amazing. If there's one thing, as we come to our 5-year show anniversary next month, if there's one thing that I have seen now that we're doing this and we talk about, I mean, literally we've been talking about the real estate market every other week for 5 years, right? It's crazy, right? There's one thing that's been extraordinarily clear is that, waiting for, kind of timing the market for prices to drop is an absolute loser proposition. Anybody that attempted that has lost out big time.
Well, it's very clear it was a good time to buy in April of 2020.
That's for sure.
We can all say that with confidence now.
With total and complete confidence. Good one. Excellent. Thank you. Ashley, are you ready? You want to give us an update?
Yeah.
We feel for you, girl. The
Thank
trooper who came to see your friends. Go for it.
I thought we were going to close out March a bit stronger than we ended up. I mean, who knows? Maybe we have a Hail Mary of a Monday, but there's approximately right now 486 sales so far for single family homes and condos only in March. An average over 90 days, it's been an average of 512 per month of closings for perspective, which is 19% less than last year, same time last year. We have 4 months to 6 months plus of inventory, depending if it's single family homes or condos. Our days on market average, which means the list date to the date it goes into contract, is at 46 days on average. That's up 9% from this time last year as well. And the sales to list price ratio from when they're listed at to what they sell at is a 96%. And so what that says to me is that, very similar to what they said, there's more inventory, things are still moving. 96% sales ratio to list price has been on par for years, give or take, 1 to 2%. So I expect a much stronger closing of April to June, July range.
And why do you expect that?
Well, here we have a unique situation on Oahu. We have PCS season on this island because we have 7 military bases within 50 miles of each other statewide. Most of them are here on Oahu. And when you have military relocation season, we see a lot of real estate move in those probably 3 to 4 months before they arrive and as they arrive. So we always see that sort of pick up, and then the natural summer market with everything nationwide is usually a bit stronger.
Got it. Thank you. Yeah. So again, I mean, it's like, okay, I don't want to say that this is a sweet spot that we're in, because of course we always want more sales would be better. But I think in terms of the sweet spot, in terms of it's the market is solid. Prices are not fluctuating too much. Like I said, 4% discount basically on average. Up at the listing price, but yet there's bargains to be found. There's negotiation. The market is soft enough where you can negotiate good prices. You can find a good deal, and you could work yourself through something.
What
Dylan,
we're
go ahead.
seeing a lot more of, I don't know if you guys are seeing the same thing. We're seeing a lot more creative options and financing, and a lot more off-market deals are happening. So that was almost unheard of, through 2020 up until, for us, probably in the last 6 to 8 months, we see tons of off-market things happening. And especially since the NAR loss or changes, we're seeing even more now because of that, because compensation is so convoluted. People are more motivated to do these off-market deals. So really important to talk to agents if you guys are serious about buying or selling, and see what they can come up with, because everyone's just overall getting a lot more creative.
And I think an important data point, going back to what's gonna happen this year and in the future, is that 2024 was the lowest number of sales nationally since 1995. So in 2008, after the financial crisis, there were more sales than there was in 2024. And so the bottom line with that is we can only go up from here. I mean, this is about as slow as the real estate market can possibly get. And if prices weren't affected, nothing that happens this year is going to bring prices down, because we cannot be any slower in terms of demand and transactional volume. So going forward, just take that into account. We won't get any slower than 2024 was. 25 is going to be better, and maybe about the same, maybe a little bit better, but it's not going to be any dramatic shift downwards.
Wait a minute. 2024 was the slowest market since 1995. So, like I said, including the 2008 crash.
Holy more moly. Transactions. Yes. In 2008, 2009.
The major difference, though, is there wasn't the price crash. There was the fewest sales. Right. I thought it was 96, but 95, 90.
Whatever. But close enough.
Prices were still stabilized, which it's extremely unique.
I mean, and there's a lot of pent-up demand for buyers, and also people that need to sell for different reasons. I mean, the main reason that people sell, in my experience, it's not the market, it's something changes in their life, and they're moving for family or personal reasons, or they have different needs. So, I mean, the market never stops. There's always people who need to buy and sell. And when it comes to a lifestyle place like Hawaii, I mean, there are so many people that would love to be here, love to own here. So I think there's a lot of pent-up demand and people that have been waiting and watching. So, I don't know when that's all going to happen, but I mean, like we said at the beginning of the show, I mean, it's gorgeous here. The people that are living here, spending time here, are having a great time, enjoying it. I mean, it makes no difference if there's, 100 sales or 50 sales a month. I mean, it's a beautiful place to be.
Man, oh man, truer words were never spoken. Heidi, when you mentioned that you take the walk in the morning with the coffee, and it's kind of, everybody, not everyone, but countless people from all around the world go for morning walks and have coffee. But how many people take a morning walk in their coffee and say, "Oh, if I can't see Molokai, it's a little too much cloud. There's a little too much fog." Right? Who can look across the ocean and see other islands while they're taking that morning coffee, right? And on that point, I was as you were saying that, I was remembering yesterday, my wife and I do our thing, which we do several times a week, which is we walk out from our house wearing our reef walkers and no towels, no nothing, just nothing. What we're gonna walk into the water with. My wife wears my wife wears a some kind of a shirt, but and then we walk into the water, right, and walk out into this incredible, beautiful, amazing sandbar that's way out because we have to walk far out, so we're way out in the middle of the ocean on a sandbar, and it's crystal clear. Yesterday was like a beautiful day. The weather's been amazing. Yesterday was a crystal clear day. There was no wind at all. It was like glass. We're like in a pool, and the water was clean. And I'm looking back at and you turn back and you look at the islands and you see the beautiful green mountains and little puffy white clouds above and this beautiful blue sky, and you're swimming around. And oh yeah, as we're swimming around, like, oh, turtle, oh, there's a turtle, hi turtle, and so we're swimming with turtles in this amazing tropical paradise. And I'm thinking to myself, this is like something that my wife and I do on a regular basis, just right outside our house, is something that other folks stay for their whole life and dream of doing and do it once in their life and think that they've died and gone to heaven. And I do this several times a week. It's like, man, thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Okay. Actually, you're muted. I don't know if you want
I was saying amen.
Amen. Amen to that. All right. Speaking of amen, so we're all thankful that you're all here. So make sure you let us know. I'd like to hear from you. If you just join us, please throw something in the chat. Say hello. Let us know where you're from before we move on. Dylan, is there anything you had did you have some slides you wanted? There was a bunch of slides that got thrown into the slide deck. I don't know if there's anything anybody wanted to share, any of those, or are we good?
Yeah, we could run through those real quick. I just wanted to share, a lot of times the folks that watch the show, ask about, the stigma of people that come from out of state buying property here, and I, always get that.
The foreign buyer. Yeah, we're going to close the borders. We're going to close the borders to foreign buyers.
And which one of these? We had this discussion a while back about banning international buyers from the market to help alleviate the housing shortage and things like that. So this is data from one of our title companies that tracks where buyers come from and what their home of record is, what address they use when they purchase property here. And so it breaks
which
it down
one you want me to show?
Island. Well, we can just quickly go through. I mean, so it's each one is each separate island. So it goes in order of which island has the most sales from out of state. The least amount of sales from out of state versus the most amount of sales from out of state. So this is the Oahu statistics. So out of the you can see it's kind of small, but basically Oahu's got like only 16% of buyers are coming from out of state and 4% of them are foreign. So the vast majority, 80% of buyers in Oahu are from the island when they purchase. So and that hasn't changed. That number hasn't changed in the last 30 years. If you look at this data year over year, there's small fluctuations in it, but it's pretty much the same. And then the next slide is Maui. So Maui's got 68% of buyers are from within the state, 30% of out of state, and 2% are international. So same, about 70%. Yeah. So the whole banning international buyers, it just doesn't solve a problem because it's not that many people. I mean, it's 1 or 2% of buyers are from out of state or from international. So, and then if you want to look further, it breaks down which state every one of those out of state buyers is coming from. And then the third one is Kauai. Kauai is 59% in the state, 40% out of state, and 1% international. And then surprisingly, the Big Island has the highest proportion of out of state buyers. So the Big Island is 64% in state, it's 35 out of state, and 1% from within the state. So yeah, just it's good perspective, I think, when folks think that there's been a change in the last 5 years, and it's that this is what's causing the problem. And I think I've told this story several times before, but we've all experienced this as realtors. One of our major markets is the buyer who retires and sells their property, 55 to 65, somewhere in the mainland, and had always had the dream to live in Hawaii. So they sell their property. They have a big stack of cash because they have equity. They've owned that home for 20 or 30 years. They come here and they buy, and they live their dream for 10 years, and they decide that, their family doesn't visit them, their grandkids are somewhere else, maybe they have some medical issues for a bunch of different reasons. They sell their house and they go somewhere else, and they're replaced by somebody who is doing the same thing they did 10 years ago. So it's not like always a net zero where every single time a home is bought, it's bought from, some local family who's been here forever, who's being displaced. I mean, there's a churn of folks that are just kind of replacing each other as life goes on and people die or people move away. So, I like the data. So I just want to provide that data and some perspective before, you listen to the headlines and the politicians that are just spewing emotion.
It's always good. It's always good to get. It's always good to put facts behind the rumors. Cool, excellent. Hey, so look, gang, let's get into some. We got some questions. I want to kind of hit your questions. So, Susie, you submitted a question online earlier. If you're here, pop a comment. Otherwise, I'm going to move on. I'm not going to move on, but I got two questions I want to cover. But Susie, if you're here, make sure you let us know. And that's for anybody else who's here with us today. If you've got a question, this is an Ask Us Anything show. Make sure you ask us anything. Pop your question in the comments. Otherwise, we're gonna move on with today's discussion topic, and that is, I want to talk about something. It's like it's synchronicity, man. It's synchronicity. The favorite outdoor activities. We just talked about how amazing Hawaii is. I get this incredible story of going to the beach. I'm curious about what are some of the best outdoor adventures in Hawaii? And I like to kind of, so on the adventure side, right? Besides, sipping coffee on the beach is amazing, right? But like on the adventure side of things, I'd like to kind of hear from you folks. What are your favorite things that you like to do most that would kind of put on the outdoor adventure side of things? And Heidi, since you started us with that incredible story of seeing Molokai from where you walk, what I'd like to know what is that you and your husband do, Heidi? What's your favorite outdoor adventure activities?
Well, my favorite outdoor activity is paddleboarding. I just like being on top of the water, just paddling. I go out at sunset, often on Kaanapali Beach or Canoe Beach or any of the West Side beaches. And some days paddleboarding is just kind of like life. Like some days it's really easy, you're just cruising along, and some days you have to work as hard as possible against the wind or just to get back. But it's always really rewarding. It does not feel like a workout at the time, but then after I get in, I realize how tired I am. I'm like, whoa, it might have been a workout. So yeah, it's just a great way to spend time on the ocean, especially if you did not grow up as a kid surfing like me and you're like a little bit afraid to get like body slammed into a reef. Paddleboarding is a little bit of a safer sport, and it's more my speed. So I highly recommend it.
Paddleboarding, it's a cool one. And being out in that water, as you said, especially if you go like sort of almost like no matter what, it's remarkable. It is amazing to see how the conditions can so drastically change, right? Drastically change. So good on you that you've taken yourself to do that. Dylan, what does the Nonaka clan do? Outdoor adventure activities. I would imagine yours is fun because you've got boys.
Yeah, ours are the opposite of Heidi's, more extreme, right? So we're definitely looking for the biggest surf possible whenever that happens. We love to go and ride a four-wheeler, in the branch land and just places that is really hard to get to. I think that's always fun, and exploring new places. I gotta talk about the volcano, right? I mean, if you want an adventure, something you can't do anywhere else, I mean, absolutely, hiking around Volcanoes National Park is something that is a once in a lifetime experience, and getting to do it when the volcano is actually going off is something you wouldn't want to miss. So it's almost based on, a lot of it is based on conditions, right? What's going on. If it's really, really clear and beautiful, you might want to do a killer hike and, over to some high peak and overlook the the coastline. When it's the winter time, you can go up to Mauna Kea and see the snow. I mean, there's on the Big Island so much stuff you can do based on what the weather's doing and what time of year it is. So main thing is to do some research, right, and think about it and what's your jam, and of course be safe. That's one of the things that Ashley was talking about snowboarding earlier, and I just did that too in Tahoe during our spring break. And I always relate snowboarding to the ocean because, you know, I've grown up here watching people get into the water when they have no business getting into the water. I mean, like when the surf is big, you have to be experienced. You have to know what you're doing. You got to be in shape. Like, I mean, it's a whole thing. But if you're not from here, you have no idea what you're getting yourself into. And I relate that to like the first time I went down a black diamond and I realized I was in way over my head, and I didn't do it anymore because I'm like, I'm just an idiot that thinks like, hey, what's the difference between this hill and that hill? And then you find out and it takes you 30 minutes to get down and you're completely exhausted because you're just not cut out for it. So I think that's a big one is, you know, respect nature. But there is just so much to do. I mean, we could go on and on for hours about it.
Yeah, we certainly could go on and on for hours. I think the Big Island, I think, definitely takes the cake in terms of ruggedness. I don't think any island comes close to the ruggedness of the Big Island. I remember one time one of the most popular social media posts I made was like eons ago, years ago, where there was a moment in time when the Big Island, there was like a hurricane warning, and the Big Island had an active volcano and it had an earthquake. And I'm like, where else on earth do you get all of this stuff? Like, does not happen. So thanks, Dylan. Amazing tree. Yeah, the ruggedness is amazing. Want to give a quick shout out to Marco. Aloha, everyone. Sorry for being late. Nothing to be sorry about, buddy. Nothing to be sorry about. We're just glad that you're here, Marco Capata. Welcome. We're glad that you joined us. Actually, you've kind of been around the block. You've done your thing. You've had your wild and crazy life. What are you doing now, or what did you do, or what comes out to you as like the favorite thing on Oahu in terms of outdoor activity, outdoor adventure activity?
I would say the first 10 years, I was such an avid hiker and scuba diver. You could not get me off the mountain or in the water. And I would just work on my phone as I was like hiking into these deep, crazy crevices. But that was when I was working a different way, not how I do now. So I'm kind of sad that I'm pickleball. Now I'm mostly pickleball.
Pickleball. My wife and I have gotten into pickleball. We are avid pickleballers. There you go.
But scuba diving was off. I dived every location on the islands. It was so fun. I remember going to Maui, and there was like this spot. We went down into this cave, and it was this natural chandelier, and it was a black coral piece hanging from this cave ceiling, and it was this natural chandelier of shiny black coral, and it was just the most spectacular thing I'd ever seen in my life. And we just dove all the way down into this cave, and as we came out, they pointed out this tiny seahorse that was as small as my pinky nail, like this big. It was just so itty bitty, and I thought that was so cool. And then obviously reef sharks and everything, but that was probably one of my best dives. When you go to the ships and the wrecks and stuff like that, you always see like sharks and lots of cool big fish and all kinds of cool coral. But diving was probably one of my favorite things. And then the hikes into like the ones that take a day, you're out there for 6-8 hours during your sunlight. I would carry my dog on my back and just go for all day on Saturdays. That was sort of my treat. And I think I hit every single hike on the island of Oahu, at least, and a couple outer islands. Those are really fun.
Yes, that is cool, man. Hardcore. Speaking of hardcore, Michael Lotta, hardcore. Welcome, Michael. Good to see you, buddy. Thanks for joining us. If you're joining us, make sure you give a shout out. We'd like to know who's here with us and where are they from. Yeah, on the I was kind of I did a little bit of both. I never once that I did scuba, but I did a lot of hikes. Not at your level, Ashley, but I did a lot of hikes.
Now we're part of the pickleball crew.
There you go, man. Pickleball crew. Exactly. Exactly. We are pickleballers.
EXP is
Um,
hosting a pickleball tournament. By the way, Peter, you and your wife are invited. It's going to be in, what is this, March? It's May 8th. So anybody is welcome to join us. It's going to be so fun, super casual. We're going to have fun little prizes and stuff like that. And we'll do potluck, and we'll also have some food and water and stuff. But
how
March,
fun.
May 8th, we'll see you there.
I got to make a note of that because I need to get I need to send it out to the Islander Ohana folks to see if they want to show up. Speaking of showing up, Leanne Romo is with us. Aloha from Southern California. Welcome, Leanne. We're glad that you're here with us. Hope you're enjoying this. Yeah, I think the thing what in like you, Heidi, kid from Chicago, into the water, and so surfing was my thing, and body surfing. So my treat actually was body surfing. My treat was to spend the entire day at Makapu'u. That was my thing back when I was single, and it was classic, man. I would go to the Hawaiian fish markets. I would pick up a couple of pounds of poke. Back then, so today the poke is going for $30 a pound, right? Back then it was $4.95 a pound. $4.95. Yeah, $4.95 a pound. And yeah. And and pack a lunch, bring my little cooler with my drinks and go to Makapu and alternate between surf and sleep and surf and sleep and eat, and the entire day at Makapu. That was, man. But the water conditions, it's unbelievable, right? There's some days which are you can snorkel at Makapu no problem some days, and other days it's like you're gonna die if you go in the water. You're gonna die. You gotta be crazy. So yeah, good fun. That's what makes Hawaii so amazing.
You went
All right.
Makapu and not Sandy's?
I did Sandy's. I have a long story at Sandy's, which is beyond the show. But no, Makapu was my place. I did Makapu. I did Sandy's. For one season. One season. But no, it was Makapu. Makapu has the spirit. There. I mean, Sandy's is cool, but Makapu is amazing. Makapu's
Sandy's
got them.
is not just for surf. Sandy's is an ecosystem of individuals where everyone congregates, and it's almost like a rite of passage if you're from here. My other half is born and raised in Hawaii Kai, and so he grew up going to Sandy's. And the people we meet and we go to, I'm like, oh, how do you know this like billionaire developer? And he's like, oh, Sandy's. I'm like, oh, how do you know this guy I shouldn't say? And he's like, Sandy's. And I'm like, oh, how do you know this head of Kamehameha school? Sandy. I'm like, what? And I go to Sandy's and I see nothing but tooth floss for bathing suits. I'm like, my daughter's I don't care what kind of networking it's Punahou level networking at Sandy's, but like in bathing suits. It's crazy.
Yeah, my daughter was part of that Sandy. There's two. Says we're going to riff on this just for half a minute. There's two crowds. There's many crowds, but there's the Sandy's crowd ecosystem, and then the other one is Portlock, the Portlock ecosystem. China Walls. That's another big hangout. China Walls, big hangout. But see, we missed all that because we didn't go to high school here. We missed that whole situation. We're the outsiders, but. Anyway, great story. Thanks. Yeah, thanks, Ashley, for sharing. All right, let's get into some diamond. Let's talk about these properties. We got some diamonds and deals over here that our friends have put together. Properties that we want to highlight and have a look at. Let's look at this first one. Is in Ma'alaea, Maui. I hope I got that right. Heidi, what are we looking at here?
So this is a brand new listing. It's a 1-bedroom, 1-bath condo. It's $455,000. It's fee simple. It's currently an Airbnb, so being sold fully furnished and turnkey with future bookings. You can see the property's beachfront right on this sandy beach, and it's in Ma'alaea, which is in central Maui. It's close to where a lot of boat excursions take off, like for whale watching, snorkeling, diving. There's also a very long sandy beach that you can walk on for miles, and yeah, only $455 and vacation rental.
And now isn't this place near somewhat near Lahaina? How far away from Lahaina is this, Heidi?
It's like probably about 35 minutes or so
Oh, okay. All right.
away. I mean,
I've got it all
it's
wrong.
closer.
Okay.
It's very central, so it's a great place to stay if you want to explore the entire island and go to Kihei, go to West Maui, go up country. It's kind of in the middle.
What's the
it's
maintenance fees?
the maintenance fees around $1,400 a month. That includes everything except electric.
How many parking?
It's open parking, one parking space. And there's extra parking along the road if you had a second car.
All right.
That's cool property.
Yeah, I was gonna say cool property, nice price. It's right there, and you said it's an Airbnb, so that implies that it's an Airbnb. So you got some potential there, becoming kind of a cool place to own and go to if you're vacation renting or make it your second
and it's
home or your
also
first home.
it's pet friendly, so it's one of the few
Ah,
condos in the area that they allow dogs and cats. So
wow,
So is this resort zoned, or is it got an STR license that is?
It's currently allowed to be used as vacation rental, but it's apartment zoned. So it's in that group of properties that we're still waiting to hear what's going to happen with it. So
got it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Thank you, Heidi. It's a beautiful property. It's really nice. I mean, it's a nice interior. It's a cool place. I know that spot, that place has like one of the killer surf spots. I know that it's like a killer right. I know that place is famous for having a killer right on a direct south swell. It's known for that. It's a very famous spot. So freight train right. That's what I know.
Yeah, freight
All right.
trains. Yeah.
Right? Freight train right, man. Yeah. Freight trains. Yeah, it's called freight. Thank you. I didn't know it was called that. Freight trains, right? Yeah, it's called that for a reason. Freight trains. All right, cool. What are we looking at over here on this is Princeville? We're going to pass on that. Okay, here we go. Hau'ula. Oh, give us the Hau'ula property, Ashley.
I've shown this before, but it's 2 legal dwellings it's an oceanfront property with 2 legal single-family homes on it. In total, it's 9 bedrooms, 6.5 bathrooms. And it's listed at 2.7 million, but my client just called me yesterday and he's like, just literally any offer. He's been trying to move off island. He has them rented out right now, but he was trying to sell them not rented. And so now he's got 30-day tenants in each area that's livable. And he's like, just any price, just submit a price and sell it. And I was like, okay, that just opens up the door to a lot of conversation. So I wanted to reshare it here. If you go to the next slide, there's some more photos too. It is all African mahogany and brilliant sapele wood, interior trim, exterior trim. That's white coral stone flooring throughout. It's adobo decking out in the front there. All of these are hardwoods that have extremely long lifespans. It's made for natural elements, incredibly expensive building materials overall. Moonstone in the kitchens and the bathrooms. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 kitchenettes. And what else? It's a gated property with a stone wall, but you could open up that stone wall and you could create all that open parking. It's just such an unreal property. That door in that front picture, it's a 5x8 custom built swivel door, outdoor shower with a half bathroom in the hallway. It's so unreal. It's such an insane property. And it's got a reef shelf in the front, so you don't have tons of people like walking right in front of your property, because Sandy Beachfront is phenomenal. It's fantastic, but you often have a lot of people that are beachgoers that'll be in front of your property. So if you're not, someone that loves, if you like the privacy, you have a lot of privacy here. I was sitting in open house at this property for 2 hours. I was cleaning it while I was waiting. In those 2 hours, I have a video I took, and it's all time-stamped. There was a surfer off to the right, if you're staring at the house looking out to the ocean. Then you had a skier come through who was trolling for fishing. You had a guy who went to the beach park 5-6 houses down out and started snorkeling. out by the house, and you had a fisherman who walked out onto the rocks to the left, and then you had a traditional Hawaiian sailboat that just went off past in the distance. It was so cool. I was like, so much just happened in 2 hours. It was lifestyle by definition of Hawaii.
What a property. What a property. Yeah, that's a cool one. Boy, I want to ask more about it, but we're running out of time. That sounds, man, that's a beautiful property. Thank you, Hassie, for sharing. Definitely a diamond and perhaps a deal. Dylan, what do we got? Man, this is a great shows today. Dylan, what's this?
Yeah, this is Papa Bay Estates, which is about like 40 minutes south of Kailua Kona. So it's in the rural area of South Kona. But I mean, check this out. For under $1 million, you get a 3-bedroom, 3-bath, 3.5 acres, killer sweeping ocean views, an orchard of all kinds of different fruit trees, and just lots of space. And the house isn't like super updated and modern, but it's in great shape. And I mean, you can see from those photos, totally livable. And maybe if you wanted to have some modern countertops and stuff, you could do that. But yeah, just killer, and just a good perspective of what you can get on the Big Island. I always talk about that from a value standpoint. I mean, 3.5 acres, house with plenty of space, and room to roam if you're looking for, a little farm. So beautiful spot. And this is right above the fishing village of Miloli'i. So if you're familiar with South Kona, it's a little 10-minute drive down the road and you have ocean access. So this doesn't have direct ocean access, but right next to it is the old fishing village of Miloli'i, which has ocean access, a boat ramp. Some of the best fishing on the island is off of that area. So
that is awesome. Yeah, that's it is so fun.
And that's the view from the lanai, right? So like that's a photo like from the lanai. So it's not like a drone photo or anything like that. Like that's what you're looking at. That's what your coffee view looks like every morning.
I'll just get you took the words out of my mouth.
Ocean view for $1 million on 3.5 acres.
You took the words out of my mouth. Then, like, that's where you have the coffee. That's where you have, Heidi's Maui coffee, or the Kona coffee, of course, with the extra buzz that you are overlooking. Well, you folks have brought some great properties and some really beautiful properties. So I want to thank you guys. It's a fantastic show. Hey, we got a question from Jim and Kath. Where's Ronnie? Yeah, good question. Ask him. No, Ronnie is not a usual regular, but if you have a special request for Ronnie, I'm sure we can kind of bring him in and have him talk story about what's going on Kauai. But Ronnie's awesome. We miss him, and I'm sure we're going to see him again soon. He's a valued member of the team. All right. I think we are going to round this one up over here. Folks, if you have any final questions, pop them in now, because we are going to roll it up and get our closing thoughts. If you got some of your closing thoughts, bring them in. Ashley, I hope I did. I don't know if okay, I got it. You want to go first? You want to go first, Ashley? Are you good?
Yes, I was just.
That's our. This is from last week.
This is the new one. Relationships will get you to places money cannot. I think that for everyone, and building rapport and doing the right thing and maintaining relationships is the most amount of wealth you can ask for.
It's everything. I mean, really, the thing is, relationships are everything. And if you have a lot of money, the only reason why you have a lot of money is because you leverage the relationship that you had. It's an undeniable link. So well said. Thank you, Ashley. Thank you. And by the way, I want to say, Ashley, thanks for being here. You didn't have to do this. You're hacking. You're still hacking, and I hope you're doing well. But you are a trooper, and it's great having you here. It's always fun. You're a great part of the team. Heidi, what's yours for today?
The biggest risk is not taking a risk at all. Just a reminder that not making a decision, not taking any action is also a risk. So when you think of it that way, maybe you do want to get out and do something.
Yes, there is a risk to not there. Yeah, thank you. There is a risk to not doing anything. That is absolutely true. And I would say, as Brad Pitt taught us in the movie World War Z, you got to keep moving if you want to stay alive. Keep moving. Don't stand still. Keep moving. Do something. Dylan, what's yours and what's its meaning to you?
It seems like we kind of have a theme here, right? About taking action and doing things, but knowledge is not power. Knowledge is only potential power. Action is power. So always remember that you're never gonna have all the knowledge, but if you take action, you'll gather it, and you'll definitely keep moving forward and being successful.
That's it, man. You gotta do something, right? Take action. Take action no matter what it is. Because
Keep
if you're
moving to
wrong,
stay
you'll learn.
alive. Keep moving to stay
Right?
alive.
Keep moving to stay alive, just like Brad Pitt told us, right? Keep moving to stay alive, right? I mean, you gotta and even and it's like you gotta move because there's a really good chance that whatever the move is going to be wrong. There's a really good chance, and that's a good thing because you take that move, you see that it's wrong, and then you take another move and you make it right. Versus not doing anything, which is like completely wrong, right? As Heidi was brought up. So good themes, folks. All right, let's close this up with my favorite book, Proverbs 28:6. Better is the poor who walks in his integrity than one who perverses in his way than one perverse in his ways, though he be rich. That almost kind of goes without saying. That almost it's such a well-established thing, but I mean, this was 3,000 years of wisdom, right? Integrity is everything. It doesn't matter. You can have all the wealth in the world, but if you're not, if it's perverse, it is useless. So, all right. I think that's it, gang. I think that is it. We are going to close this one up. Another show, and we brought this up earlier, but at our next show in 2 weeks, we're going to celebrate our 5-year anniversary. 5 years ago, we started the show. So next week, so we got to do something. Dylan, I got be thinking about. But all right, folks, I think that's it. Let's say goodbye, and we'll let Ashley say goodbye first because she's the one who's got to leave first. Ashley, then Heidi, then Dylan. Say goodbye.
Thank you guys for letting me participate in your 5-year running show, by the way. Appreciate you. And everyone have a great weekend. Aloha.
Aloha, everybody. Happy Friday. Have a great weekend.
Yeah, hello everybody. Get outside and take some action this weekend.
Yeah.
That's it, man. Take some action. Have a coffee. Go on the water. Go out on the thing. Take a hike. Go for scuba. Go surf. Go with the kids. Go snowboarding. And dry side. Thank you. Take care. All right, everybody. Aloha.